Good day. This is Group 3 May Pag-asa, and we will be reporting the Republic Act 9-11 or the Tobacco Regulation Act of 2003. Now let's call the first reporter, Miss Shane Samonte.
Good day, I am Shane and today I am going to discuss to you the Republic Act number 9211, also known as the Tobacco Regulation Act of 2003. But before we dive into that, let me tell you something about the background of tobacco usage in the Philippines. According to the survey of the Union.org, 17.3 million adults, or about 28% of the population of the Philippines, uses tobacco. 48% are males, which have higher rates of smoking than women, which is only 9%. And in addition to it, 55% of youth ages 13 to 15 and 40% of adults are exposed to secondhand smoke in their homes. Republic Act number 9211 is an omnibus law regulating smoking in public places, tobacco advertising, promotion, sponsorships, and sales restrictions. Among other requirements that addresses false, deceptive, or misleading advertising in general. We all know that before this law was implemented, we can see anyone smoking everywhere, even inside supermarkets and malls. But nowadays, smokers have their own smoking areas. And when it comes to the packaging of the cigarettes, before it was just a plain design with the brand name on it. But after the law was implemented, we can notice that every packaging has sensitive images showing different disease and illnesses like cancer and asthma. It also has a writing imprinted on it, quote, "Cigarette smoking kills." Since then, despite the strong lobbying of the tobacco industry and several shortcomings, this act was designed to promote a healthy environment and protect citizens from the hazards of tobacco use and to inform the public of its consequences. Thank you.
Thank you, Shane Samonte, the reporter for today for Declaration of Policy of Republic Act 9211, be it enacted by the Senate and House of Representatives of the Philippines Congress, assembled. Section 1, short title, this act shall be known as the Tobacco Regulation Act of 2003. Thank you, and the next reporter is Echo Fader.
The next topic is about smoking-free places that's supposed to be reported by Fader. The law imposes a duty upon persons in charge of public places and conveyances to post no smoking and no vaping signs, to remove ashtrays and other receptacles for disposing of cigarette refuse, and to take steps to require a person to stop smoking, including warning and requesting to stop, asking the person to leave the premises if she or he continues to smoke, and reporting the incident if she or he continues to refuse to comply. The law sets out requirements for the placement, size, content, and format of the sign. On first offense, a fine between 500 Philippine pesos and 1,000 Philippine pesos shall be imposed. On second offense, a fine between 1,000 Philippine pesos and 5,000 Philippine pesos shall be imposed. On third offense, in addition to a fine between 5,000 Philippine pesos and 10,000 Philippine pesos, the business licenses or permits and the licenses to operate shall be cancelled or revoked.
Advertising, promotion, and sponsorship. Tobacco company advertising and promotion websites young people to start using tobacco. Adolescents who are exposed to cigarettes advertising often find the ad appealing. Tobacco ads make smoker appear to be appealing, which can increase adolescents' desire to smoke. By banning the tobacco advertising, promotion, and sponsorship, it's one of the best ways to protect young people from starting smoking as well as reducing tobacco consumption across the entire population. In the Philippines, tobacco kills at least 87,650 per year, 240 deaths every day. 1/3 of these are men in the most productive age of their lives. In our country, the Philippines, has successfully passed the Republic Act 9211, Tobacco Regulation Act of 2003. Despite having several shortcomings, this act was designed to promote a healthy environment and protect citizens from hazard of tobacco smoking. Inform the public of the health risks associated with cigarette smoking and tobacco use, regulate and subsequently ban all tobacco advertisements and sponsorship except at point of sale, regulate the labeling of tobacco products, and protect young people from being initiated to cigarette smoking and tobacco use to access restriction.
Family Smoking Prevention and Tobacco Control Act or TCA granted FDA important new authority to regulate the manufacture, marketing, and distribution of tobacco products. The TCA also amended Section 4 of the Federal Cigarette Labeling and Advertising Act or FCLA, directing FDA to issue regulation requiring color graphics depicting the negative health consequences of smoking to accompany new textual warning statements. And the example of this warning is: smoking causes head and neck cancer, smoking reduces blood flow, which can cause erectile dysfunction, tobacco smoke can harm your children, smoking causes bladder cancer, which can lead to our bloody urine. And the next is, in March 2020, FDA finalized the required warnings for cigarette packages and advertisement rule, establishing 11 new cigarette health warnings consisting of textual warning statement accompanied by color graphics in form of concordant photorealistic images depicting the negative health consequences of cigarette smoking. These new required warnings depict some of the lesser known but serious health risks of smoking.
Thank you, Ms. Kison. Now to talk about the cigarette contents and disclosure. This legislation or the law neither regulates nor grants jurisdiction to regulate the substance or ingredients of cigarettes. For example, the flavor includes sweeteners and sugars, menthol, mint or spearmint, spices, and herbs, and so on. Furthermore, the law neither regulates nor grants jurisdiction to restrict cigarette emissions. The law does not force manufacturers or importers to reveal to the government authorities the information about the contents and or ingredients used in the creation of their products, nor does it oblige them to declare the emissions of their products. Moreover, the law does not require that information regarding the ingredients and emissions of cigarettes be disclosed. As a result, the law does not mandate that such information be easily accessible to the public. Lastly, the law does not control the composition of tobacco products, nor does it require producers or importers to provide information on the contents and emissions of their tobacco products. Thus, there are no specific penalties. That's all. Thank you. Now for the next reporter is Ms. Pagola.
Sales restriction of tobacco. When a property has sales restriction, it means there are specific conditions that must be met in order to a property to be sold. For example, in some cases, only certain buyers may purchase the property. In other cases, the property can only be sold for more or less than a stated price. This restriction, the law sales of small packets of cigarettes and the sales of tobacco products within 100 meters of schools, playgrounds, and other facilities frequented by minors. In addition, the law restricts sales via vending machines. There are no restrictions on internet sales or the sales of the single cigarettes. The sales of tobacco products is prohibited to persons under the age of 21.
E-cigarettes. The law allows the retail sale of e-cigarettes. The use of e-cigarettes is prohibited where smoking is prohibited, which includes public conveyances and enumerated indoor public places and workplaces. There are several restrictions on e-cigarette advertising and promotion and sales in specified locations. Sales are prohibited to persons under the age of 21. Beginning in May 2022, flavors other than plain menthol and plain tobacco will be prohibited. In addition, combined picture and text health warnings will be required to cover 50% of the front and back of e-cigarette packaging.
That's the end of our reporting. Thank you for listening.